Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for joining us today. I would like to seek the blessings of Krishna Balaram, Gaunitai, Srila Prabhupada, Radha Madhav, Radha Shyam Sundar, Guru Maharaj. So that we can continue with Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto. And today we have a quick look at chapter 85. And this is, nice long verse. Is Riyansh with us? Riyansh, are you there? Or, yeah, he is. Riyansh, would you like to chant this verse?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Good boy.
Tanna prasiddha nirapeksha vimuktayusmat padaravinda dishananya grahananda kupat nishkramya vishwa sharanangrihi upalabdavritti shanto yataika utta sarvashakaisharmi. Translation: Please be merciful to me so I may get out of the blind well of family life, my false home, and find the true shelter of your lotus feet, which selfless sages always seek. Then, either alone or in the company of great saints who are the friends of everyone, I may wander freely, finding life's necessities at the feet of the universally charitable trees. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful prayer. And this is by Bali Maharaj, and we'll see the context in a little while. But this is really very, very nice prayer to help us get over the Lord's illusory energy. So this is okay as well if we pray to the Lord, please keep me away from your Maya. that's okay as a good prayer, as a prayer. Okay. So this chapter is called Lord Krishna instructs Vasudeva and retrieves Devaki's sons. And it relates how Lord Krishna imparted divine knowledge to his father, and along with Lord Balaram retrieved his mother's dead sons. So one day the two sons of Vasudeva, Sankarasan and Achyuta, came to pay him respects, bowing down at his feet. Vasudeva greeted them with great affection, having heard the great sage's words concerning the power of his two sons, and having seen their valorous deeds. Vasudeva became convinced of their divinity, began praising their omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence, and omniscience. And he spoke as follows. So initially, right at the beginning, when Lord Krishna, when he appeared in the prison house, Vasudeva and Devaki, they were very concerned for his well-being, thinking that he's their child. So they asked him, please disguise yourself, and how do we get you out of here? We're in a prison. So he advised them, and then they went to Golku. But also and Devaki, they were still stuck in that prison. They didn't, Comes didn't let them go. And then later on, they were rescued by Krishna when he was 11. So, and then they spent a lot of time with Krishna in Dwaka. But Vasudeva's mood was that this is my son, my boy. But now he's been enlightened by the sages, also by Krishna's amazing acts, and he's viewing Krishna in a little different way. You too are personally the source of universal creation. Everything that comes into existence is created within you, by you, from you, and for you. You enter within this entire universe in your personal form as a super soul. So this is our great fortune, that we do have the Lord very close to us, even though he is far away as well. Whatever potencies exist in the creation are are all your personal energies. Everything active in the material world is set into motion by the Supreme Lord. The glow of the moon, the brilliance of the fire, etc. All these are actually you. You are water, also its taste, as he confirms in the Bhagavad Gita. I am the taste in water. Rasoaham apsu kauntaya, and its capabilities to quench thirst and sustain life. Water is so important. We couldn't survive a day or two without water. Needed for so many different things, just let alone sustaining us. You are the primeval, unmanifested form of sound, the first syllable. Om. You are the capacity of the intelligence for decision making and the living entity's ability to remember things accurately. You are false ego in the mode of ignorance, but he's not affected by this. This is the point. He's the source of it, yes, but he's not affected by it, which is the source of the physical elements. False ego in the mode of passion. So you are false ego in the mode of passion. You're the source of it, rather, which is the source of bodily senses. And false ego in the mode of goodness, which is the source of the demigods. So he carries on. By good fortune, a soul may obtain a healthy human life, an opportunity rarely achieved. So Vasudev confirms this. We are so fortunate, just unbelievably fortunate. But if he is nonetheless deluded about what is best for him, your illusory Maya will cause him to waste his entire life. And we see that in this place like good old Tenerife. See, most people trying to enjoy the sun, enjoy the senses, yeah. And you can get very carried away in a place like this. Very dangerous place. You keep this whole world bound up by the ropes of affection. And thus when people consider their material bodies, they think, this is me. And when they consider their progeny and other relations, they think, these are mine. So Vasudeva really gives amazing philosophy, actually, really amazing philosophy. Having heard the visiting sages glorify Krishna, Vasudeva ceased to regard Krishna and Balaram as his sons and as a Supreme Personality Godhead. Vasudeva said, when you appeared in Mathura, you told us that you, the unborn Lord, had already been born several times as our son in previous ages. After manifesting each of these transcendental bodies to protect your own principles of religion, you made them unmanifest, thus appearing and disappearing like a cloud. O supremely glorified, all-pervading Lord, who can understand the mystic deluding potency of your opulent expansions? So why does the Lord do this? Why does he manifest, unmanifest? Why does he sometimes restore religion and then sometimes again, irreligion is prominent? So in the material world, time is controls everything. Time destroys everything. So even religion gets destroyed in the material world. So the Lord comes in order to restore religion again and again. He wants to come. In the spiritual world, there are a few activities which the Lord cannot perform. He cannot fight as he likes. So in the material world, he can come here, he sends his special devotees, and he has a good fight. Sometimes the Lord likes to fight. And he fulfills that desire in the material world. So he sends his devotees like Jay and Vijay, very powerful souls from the spiritual world, to give him a good fight in this material world, which he enjoys and relishes. But other than that, the reason he comes again and again is to reclaim us. He performs pastimes, all sorts of different pastimes in all sorts of different avatar forms. And these pastimes are very endearing and very sweet. We know the Lord is great, but you can't fall in love with greatness. You can just be in awe of greatness. But with sweetness, you can fall in love. So he shows his sweetness through his activities and his pastimes. And he entices us back to him. So, having heard his father's words, the Supreme Lord replied in a gentle voice, as he bowed his head in humility and smiled. So the Lord never loses his etiquette. Even though he is the Supreme, he's in every single way superior to every one of us. Yet, he's very humble at the same time. There's a very nice quote: the more advanced you become in spiritual life, the more humble you become. So even the great sages, although they are practically speaking one with God, because they're delivering his message far and wide and living the message at the same time. So they're practically speaking as powerful as Krishna himself, because Krishna acts through them, but yet they're very humble. The more one advances in spiritual life, one becomes more humble. And the Lord is the prime example. Bows his head in humility. The Supreme Spirit, Paramatma, is indeed one. He is self-luminous and eternal, transcendental, devoid of all material qualities. But through the agency of the very modes he has created, the one Supreme Truth manifests as many among the expansions of those modes. So this is the modes of goodness, passion, ignorance, Sattva-gun, Rajagun, Tamagun. Hearing these instructions from the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva became freed from all ideas of duality. Satisfied at heart, he remained silent. Then Mother Devaki praised Krishna and Balaram, who had descended to this world in order to kill those kings whose good qualities had been destroyed by the present age, and who thus defied the authority of the revealed scriptures and burdened the earth. So Devaki reminded them how they had retrieved the dead son of their spiritual master. So Sandipani Muni's son had been rescued from the abode of Varundev. So Devaki Mataji, she reminded Krishna, do you remember, Lord Krishna, my dear Lord, my dear son, you rescued the son of your spiritual master as a token of remuneration for his mercy. So she asked him, please fulfill my desire in the same way. Please bring back my sons who were killed by Kams, so I may see them once again. So they must be good 100 years old by now. Anyway, thinking of her own sons who had been murdered by Kams, she felt great sorrow, and thus she petitioned Krishna and Balaram. So the mother's heart is never forgets the progeny, the children. And that's a good thing, and it's also not a good thing, because that attachment will keep one bound to this world if it's based on a material connection. But here, of course, the attachment is on a spiritual connection. So, this is jumping the gun a little bit. So, entreated in this way by their mother, the two lords went to the subterranean planet of Sutala, where they approached Bali Maharaj. King Bali, so the history behind this we are familiar with. Bali Maharaj was the son of Prahlad Maharaj, and Bali Maharaj was actually the king of the demons. He conquered heaven, displaced the demigods, and Indra and the demigods prayed to Lord Vishnu, please come and rescue them. And he did. He came as Vamandev and he begged for 3 paces of land from Bali Maharaj, who granted his wish, even though he knew this is the Supreme Lord who will take everything away. But Bali Maharaj was so gracious. He said, yes, you can take. Why only 3 steps? I have a lot more I can give you. So of course, Vamandev placed 1 step on the earth, 2nd step, the rest of the creation. And the 3rd step, he put on the head of Bali Maharaj. And he was so pleased with Bali Maharaj, he granted him the planet of Sutala, saying that I will be your gatekeeper as long as you're ruling. So Bali Maharaj every day has the darshan of Vamandev. But this time, he had the darshan of Krishna. Bali greeted them respectfully, offering them seats of honor, worshipping them, and reciting prayers. Bali washed the feet of the 2 supreme personalities. Then he took that water which purifies the whole world and poured it upon himself and his followers as well. He worshipped Krishna and Balaram with all the riches at his disposal. This is a really good example. Everything we have, we should use it to worship the Supreme Lord. Priceless clothing, ornaments, fragrant sandalwood paste, betel nut lamps, sumptuous food, and so on. Thus he offered them all his family's wealth. He offered his own self as well. This is the perfection of surrender. Bali Maharaj glorified the 2 lordships as follows. Some of us have become attracted to you despite being observed in hatred. So this was perhaps not so much Bali Maharaj, because as soon as he saw Vamandev, he was very attracted to him. But he was opposed to the demigods. He was opposed, if you like, to righteousness in one sense. While others have become attracted because of their mood of devotion based on lust. So we have these bad attributes within us: lust, anger, greed, attachment, etc. And generally speaking, they would bring us down in this material world. But it is possible to use those bad qualities and engage them in the service of the Lord. How do we do that? Hanuman, he was very angry. He used that anger in the service of the Lord. Of course, he wasn't angry at the Lord, but he was angry at the those who were against the Lord. But he still was able to use that anger and in the service of the Lord. Similarly, lust. The gopis had a lot of lust for Krishna. It purified them. It perfected them. It made them the greatest devotees of the Lord. So all of these things, they're in us. So somehow we have to guide them in the right direction. It's hard to get rid of anger, hatred, lust. Very difficult to get rid of these things because they're within us. They're part and parcel of us, unfortunately, whilst we're in this world. But if we can somehow use them in the service of the Lord, then we can purify ourselves. And then Bali Maharaj carries on. The demigods, they're infatuated by material goodness. They feel no such attraction for you. No, they're too happy. They're always happy in their lives. They've got, apart from occasional demon comes and harasses them and they beg for protection from Vishnu, the rest of the time, they're chilling out, they're enjoying. So they can't think of Krishna. This is one of the problems. So what to speak of ourselves? O Master, O Lord of the O perfect yogis, even the greatest mystics do not know what your spiritual power of delusion is and how it acts. There was one time Markandeya Muni, he wanted to see the devastation of the Lord. And the Lord said, okay, you want to see it, no problem. And this huge devastation came, and Markandeya Muni was struggling in that devastation, the waters, the floods. But in the middle of the floods, he saw a little lotus flower upon which was seated Bal Gopal, sucking his toe. Little baby Krishna came to protect him. So this illusionary power of the Lord is unfathomable. We might think we've conquered Maya, but we should never be under that illusion. Maya is very, very strong. Please be merciful to me. So this is the verse that we read right at the beginning. So I may get out of this blind well of family life, my false home, and find the true shelter of your lotus feet, which selfless sages always seek. Then, either alone or in the company of great saints who are the friends of everyone, I may wander freely, finding life's necessities at the feet of the universally charitable trees. So in our parampara, there is the example of the 6 Goswamis. They used to sleep under the trees, a different tree every night. Trees are very, very amazing personalities. They give shelter, even without taking permission from the trees. They give fruits, they give shade from the rain or from the sun, and yet they don't ask for anything in return. And many sages, they live very, very simply, extremely simply. And they take shelter of the Lord's creation. Very simple living, but very high thinking. Please tell us what to do and thus free us of all sin. One who faithfully executes your command is no longer obliged to follow the ordinary Vedic rites. Okay, Naliman, thank you. During the age of the first Manu, the sage Marichi had 6 sons by his wife Urna. They were all exalted demigods. But once they laughed at Brahma when they saw him preparing to have illicit relation with his own daughter. Because of that improper act, they immediately entered a demoniac form of life. And thus they took birth as the sons of Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu had one amazing son, Prahlad Maharaj, but he also had other sons who were born to him because of the curse by Lord Brahma. And these sons were previously the sons of Marichi. The goddess Yogamaya then took them away from Hiranyakashipu, and they were born again from Devaki's womb. So this was part of the punishment for laughing at Brahma. Now Brahma, the reason they were treated that way was because Brahma actually is a pure devotee. But sometimes the Lord likes to show to us that Maya can attack anyone, including Lord Brahma. But of course, Lord Brahma is a pure devotee. Our Lord Brahma especially is a pure devotee. It's just an example that the Lord has made. But it doesn't give the right for others to look at Lord Brahma and criticize him. Because actually he's a pure devotee. After this, O king, so this is Sukadeva Goswami explaining to Parikshit Maharaj, comes, murdered them. Devaki still lamented for them, thinking of them as her sons. The same sons of Marichi are now living here with you. So Krishna is saying to Bali, by my grace, these 6, Smara, Udgita, Parishvanga, Tatanga, Shudra, Bhita, and Grini, We wish to take them from this place to dispel their mother's sorrow, release them from their curse, and also return them to the abode of pure saints. So their punishment was over. The Lord received the boys from Bali and he returned them to Devaki, who felt such a surge of affection for them that milk began spontaneously flowing from her breasts. Overjoyed, Devaki fed the children her breast milk. So they stayed as children, even though they must have been somewhere near 100 years old. Maybe not 100, but close to it. By drinking the remnants of milk, once drunk by Lord Krishna himself, they regained their original form as demigods and went back to heaven. After they had bowed down to Govinda, Devaki, and their father, and also to Balaram, and of course, Krishna. Seeing her sons from the dead, Devaki was struck with wonder. O king, she concluded that this was all simply an illusion created by Krishna. He performed countless pastimes just as amazing as this one. So that's the end of chapter 85. Any questions or any comments by anybody?
Some new people today.
Okay. Madhusudan Babu, if you can please take us through the instructions.
Okay, Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So on that basis, just what you read, you know, Krishna would know where all these souls had gone, because when he went to get the son of his guru, Sandipani Muni, then he went to Varunadev to retrieve, you know, to get that son back. But this time he's gone to Bali Maharaj, so he knows where all those sons have ended up or they'd gone to. Then he's showing mercy by trying to liberate them or something. So this chapter reveals how Vasudeva and Devaki came to be Krishna's parents third time round in these pastimes. Vasudeva addresses Krishna and Balaram in their godly divine position, having been dispelled of influence of Yogmaya. Upon Devaki's desire, Krishna and Balaram goes to Bali Maharaj in Sutana Loka to bring back and liberate the 6 sons of Devaki that were killed by Kans. So Bali Maharaj's exemplary surrender to Krishna is worthy of our study and understanding. How he receives and glorifies Krishna and Balaram. So Srila Prabhupada describes this scene as follows in Krishna's. King Bali was feeling such transcendental pleasure that he repeatedly grasped the lotus feet of the Lord and kept them on his chest. And sometimes he put them on top of his head. And in this way, he was feeling transcendental bliss. Tears of love and affection began to flow down from his eyes, and all his hairs stood on end. So as we see that Bali Maharaj receives Krishna and Balaram, he asks them what he can do for them, but then his prayer is to be in the association of devotees, or when he says either alone or in the company of devotees, maybe just remain focused on you. And obviously this is a instruction and a message to us as to how we can also pray, but at the same time, in our mind, we can actually visualize or at least feel what Bali Maharaj was feeling, grasping lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So even if not physically or anything, but at least in our mind, we can try to do that, would be our way of surrendering and being in service to Krishna. Okay, Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's good. Well, coming closer to finishing this 10th canto, a few more chapters left, but so we'll carry on tomorrow. If there's any questions or any comments, you're welcome to ask now. Otherwise, we will stop. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.